Welcome to Amanda Hall mini workshop series here on Facebook Live. I do apologise with the delay coming to you this week. We had some technical issues out of the US with my previous show on A1R Psychic Radio. So for those of you that don't know me, my name's Amanda Hall Psychic. I'm here on the Gold Coast. I run a little mini workshop every week here, usually at 12:30 here on Facebook Live. This week we are running late, as I said. So we're going to be working with the full moon in Sagittarius this week. So I really do want to thank you for joining us each week. We're up to workshop number 16, and it is amazing that how many of you really understand and like to work with the full moon and the energies that happen. We will get some T's and C's out of the road before we start. I do not do or perform free readings here on this mini workshop. If you leave a comment in the comment box, I will be happy to sort of answer anything that you might have, hopefully within the next few days. I am having some technical issues on Facebook, so if I don't answer you, it's not me being rude. I've been having some hacking issues there, and I've got an IT team working on it, trying to reinstate my account as we speak. So you may not get this broadcast in the usual fashion. I've had to go in through another page to bring this workshop to you this week, so I do apologise. It's been out of my control, but hopefully we can get it fixed very, very shortly. So what does the full moon mean? The full moon means it's a time of the month where we need to release and let go of the things that are no longer serving us or we need in our lives. Now, some people like to work with putting their crystals out under the full moon. I'm not a crystal person. I'm not a crystal expert, so I really can't comment at when's the best time for you to place your crystals out under the moonlight, or wash them in the salt water, or do whatever with them. There's something that has never really caught my attention. Yes, I do have some crystals. It's not something I have a natural affinity with or claim to know anything about. So please excuse my ignorance in that. I'll always be open and honest with you about what I do work with and what I know little or nothing about. And there's other people that specialise in those areas, and they're the people that you should be taking notice of. What I do know is how the moon works, because I've been working with the moon's energy for a very, very, very long time. I've been in the psychic industry for over 40 years. I've been seriously working with astrology for well over 30 years. So as you can see, this does make me a little bit of an expert or have knowledge in these areas. And I've been teaching tarot and astrology for well over 30 years. So a lot of people have affectionately called me the master of tarot. I have written a number of books on tarot. I've worked with tarot most of my life, and I've worked with astrology most of my professional life as well. So working with the full moon is something that I've learnt to harness. Now, I like to work slightly differently to most people. The full moon is actually happening from the 30th of May, which was just after midnight here in Australia this morning. So it's just started to go full. It's just over the 13-hour mark, or heading up to the 13-hour mark of being full. We normally say a full moon lasts 2.5 days. I like to work with the energy leading up 2 days prior to the full moon, allowing 3 days for the full moon, and then 2 days for the tapering off of the full moon. So it's like coming up, sitting on the mountain, and then going down the mountain is how I like to look at working with a moon energy. Now, people sort of say to me, what sort of things should I be letting go of at a full moon? You may have been working on projects that, you know, now have come to a completion, and you want to put on your piece of paper and say, I'm really proud of myself. I've just paid off my car. Now I release all the energy, all the anguish, all the frustration, all the happiness, all the everything that went with paying off that huge loan. It may be that you're letting go of some old emotional issues, things that have come to the surface that you think, I no longer need that, I can release that. It may just be that I'm very thankful that I paid my credit card this week. You know, I'm grateful that the money's gone from bank account to credit card and reducing my debt. There's lots of different things that we can be letting go of. Now, when we're working with the full moon, each month it's a different energy. It's opposite where the sun is in the zodiac. So the sun at the moment is in Gemini. So the full moon will be in the opposite energy of Sagittarius. So it's a fiery, deliberate, definite sort of moon. It's a moon that sort of says, I can do anything. It almost makes us feel superhuman. So you have to be very careful with a full moon, particularly in Sagittarius, because we tend to think we're a little bit indestructible, like a Mack truck, or we're a bit like Superman, I can achieve anything. And this is the time quite often when people get this amazing burst of energy that says, great, I'm going to start training for the marathon. So they go out the first day, and instead of taking it nice and steady and working up to a nice regulated training regime, they go out and they run 10 kilometres. then they come home, they're feeling great, and they hit the shower and they, you know, do more push-ups and do this. The next day they can't move, and they think, well, that wasn't a very good idea. Well, yes, it was a good idea, but had they taken it in more manageable steps, it would have been better. Or they get an abundance of energy and they're going to rearrange the house, or they're going to do things without sort of really thinking. So be very, very careful of how you particularly move your body. And because it is in the Sagittarian energy, if you're going to do something silly and go like the bull in the china shop and go 100 miles an hour, and, you know, you might strain or sprain something, it'll probably be thighs and hips, or sciatic nerve or something like that that you'll strain. So just be very careful of that. On a more positive side, it's a time when we can get some great inspiration. I really like the full moon in Sag because I feel it's a very spiritual sort of time. Whether you believe in spiritual as in being religious, or whether it's you living by your own belief system, it's a time when we can get some great inspiration, some great insight. We get some very high level downloads from above, you know, from our spirit guides, from our guardian angels, where they're not necessarily trying to control us, but they can put some thought bubbles in our mind for us to sort of in point form that we've then got to elaborate on or work out what needs to go around it. They've given us a couple of words. It's up to us to do the rest of the work. So it can be a great time of great messages being downloaded and delivered to us, which is good. It's not a bad thing. It's an amazing thing. And it's a very helpful thing to say this is how things can happen in our lives, that we got some great inspiration at that time of the year. For our Northern Hemisphere viewers, it's heading into your summertime. So you guys are feeling very free and easy. You know, you've just come out of spring where things have started to grow and shoot, and the weather's warming up, and you're sort of looking forward to those long hazy days of summer where you're outside, you're enjoying the outdoors, getting more exercise, going on picnics and barbecues and spending time with people. For us here in the Southern Hemisphere, we're heading towards winter. So it's time where we're sort of slowing down a little bit, rugging up a bit more, staying home, curling up by the fire, you know, really sort of going a little bit more introverted. So it's sort of like, you know, for some of us here in the Southern Hemisphere, it's a time when we do actually get out and ramp up our exercise regimes because it's not so hot. And we go for those lovely bushwalks and picnics in the cooler weather and things like that. So wherever you are in the world, it is a time to get out and explore the environment. You know, some people will be sort of planning overseas trips or long distance trips at the moment as well. So all of these come under the full moon. Just make sure that you slow down enough to really enjoy what's going on ahead of you and work with the energy that is there for you. So that now brings me to my candles of the week that we'll be working with. If you were working with letting go or releasing of things, this is how you would work with it. So of course we have the full moon candle, which, you know, is for the full moon. So it would be a candle that we would burn for the full moon. Always place your candle on a coaster. You would write your list of what you want to release under the full moon ×2 on 2 pieces of paper. So we put a piece of paper down, then the coaster, then the candle. Then we would light the candle and reading out aloud what we would have had on the list. So you might need to make 3 lists. You know, you've got 2 to go under the candles and 1 you're going to read out aloud. So the length of time that we need to burn the candles is between 15 minutes to 2 hours per day. That will give you the greatest benefit of being able to establish what you need to establish with your getting your message out there. So the other candle that I would be burning, suggested course at the moment, would be the fire sign candle. Same rules apply. Piece of paper underneath with what you're releasing, the coaster, never putting it directly on the table. We don't want to scorch the table. Now, as you can see, if I turn them here, they've got 2 wicks in these candles. I like to burn one side of the wick one day and the other side the next day. The reason for that is they are in glass containers, and the glass itself gets hot. The soy wax does not get hot, but the glass container can. And particularly with the variations in temperature, you can quite often find if you burn the 2 wicks, the glass container can crack, and I wouldn't like to see that happen. But also you get a much longer burn time out of your candle if you like alternate wicks. The recommended from the candle supply place where we buy our ingredients to make the candles says, you know, about 60 hours burn time on these extra large candles. I can get up to 100 hours if I don't put it under an air conditioner or in a doorway, certainly not under curtains, and keep them away from children and pets. So that's the suggested course of action for those. For those of you that might be traveling or want a smaller space, we do make a travel pack. This one this week I've made up of 2 fire sign and 1 full moon. but you can make it up of whatever you might like. It's entirely your choice. When you go to the checkout, if you want to type in the word Facebook in capital letters, you will get a discount on anything that you purchase. Here in Australia, we offer free postage. For those of you that are overseas, unfortunately, we can't offer that, but we do offer a flat fee for no matter how much product you purchase, you will only pay the flat fee wherever you are in the world. So I suggest if you're overseas and you want a few things, save your pennies up and order them all in one go, and we can give you that flat free postage. So with the smaller candles, the travel size candles, again, they're in glass. There's only 1 wick, but they will burn up to about 15 hours. Now, for those of you that say to me, but Amanda, I don't know that I've got 15 minutes that I can sit with a candle and focus on it, you can purchase what's known as a melt warmer. Now, I bought this one in the supermarket here, under $20. It's electric. It has a little button on the side that you turn it on. Now, you can use your wax out of your candle. Take about half a teaspoon. Now, if you were working with the full moon plus the fire sign for the Sagittarian energy, you would put half a teaspoon of each in the melt warmer per day. You can keep adding to it and just clean your wax tray out at the end of the 7-day period, and then you can burn, melt whatever you like. But if you do that and put your, underneath the wax melt warmer, if you put that on a coaster and put your, the things that you've got written down on your list that you'd read out, you'd put that underneath. Now, wax melt warmers are good in that way because you can leave them turned on. You don't need to babysit them. They can go all day, and it does make the house or the office smell really, really lovely. And then at the end of the day, you just turn it off. So they are a safe alternative to lighting candles if you don't want to light candles. We don't sell the wax individually anymore. We only sell it in candle form. So, and sometimes even when you've burnt your candles at alternate sides, you end up with some wax left over that you might want to use in your melt warmer. So it's a really, really interesting time as we move through all the different changes of the moon. And, we have a full moon once a month and we have a new moon once a month. So we're always pretty much under the influence of the moon in some way. And the moon does govern our emotions. And it's always helpful if you understand where your moon is in your chart and how and why you react to certain things. So obviously people that have the moon in Sagittarius in their chart are going to feel more of the effect of this full moon because it would be the full moon holding hands with their moon in their chart. But also anybody else that has a fire sign moon in their chart, whether they have the moon in Aries or the moon in Leo, would be the next ones to feel it, followed by anybody that has the moon in Aquarius, in Gemini. So because we're looking at the Sagittarian, the opposite sign of that is Gemini. So if you have the moon in Gemini, you would be the 4th person in line to feel the real full effect. Everybody else is still going to feel it, but not maybe quite as intense. So for those of you that don't know where your moon is in your chart, you can always purchase an astrology wheel from me where it will show you where the moon is in your chart, provided you know your name, date, time if possible. If you don't have your time, that's fine, and we can email you that PDF of your chart. Or better still, why don't you join our free newsletter, where you will get, by joining up to our free newsletter, you will get your very own astrology chart valued at $30 sent to you as an e-booklet. And with that, you will get your astrological wheel for absolutely free. So if you want to head to my website, www.amandahallpsychic.com.au, and we welcome everybody from around the world for that. There is no charge for that. All you have to do is agree to sign up to the email list. You can opt out at any time, but we will be having some more exciting promotions and things as I learn a little bit more about IT and how to send out special promotions to our family that'll be part of the newsletter. There will be different promotions during the year just purely for you guys that nobody else will get. So it's really a good place to be. Plus, you'll get a couple of emails a week reminding you about what's on the show next, what's on the next workshop, and the opportunity to catch up. And, here's where you can find my blog and things like that. And then we'll be, as I said, as I learn a bit more about IT world and website design and things like that, I'll get a little bit more happening with that, and we'll have some really extra special offers. So I hope you've enjoyed what we've endeavoured to do and bring to you each week here on our mini workshop. Next week, we're going to be working with the Sun in Gemini. I like to feature the star signs as we go around the zodiac. So if you're a Gemini, you know anybody that's a Gemini, tune in next week for workshop number 17 as we look at the Sun in Gemini. If you have any other suggestions for things that you would like me to focus on in a workshop, I'm happy to do that. Please drop me an email, drop me a message in Messenger. At the moment, I'm not able to access my own Facebook account, so please don't think I'm rude if I don't get back to you. It's because I've got an IT team working on that, trying to reinstate my account. It was hacked as well as my IP address, so we've had a security breach. It's something that they are working on fixing, so I do apologise. So if you haven't seen me on Facebook, you'll know why, or any social media. It's for those reasons, because we needed to get this security breach fixed first. And I hope you have an absolutely awesome week wherever you are in this globe of ours, and I look forward to working with you all again next week. And for those of you that want to know more about what I do have a show on A1R Psychic Radio out of the US of A at high noon on a Wednesday here on Facebook. You'll be able to catch up if you scroll down on this blog, the blurb that goes with this workshop. You'll see there a link there that says to the catch-up page, where when I get back into Facebook and I'm able to be there, back as a real person again, I will upload this and the show from A1R Psychic Radio to that page. But in the meantime, you'll be able to catch up on some past events. So have a great week, and I look forward to catching you all very, very soon again on Facebook. Love you all. Bye-bye.